Hey guys, Ethan here with Terminal.com, and today we're going to talk about promoting and sharing your open source project using Terminal's Snapshot feature. So this is an aspect of open source projects that's often overlooked. That is getting it in the hands of people who are going to test it and play with it and tweak it and make it popular. One really easy way to do this is using Terminal's Snapshot feature, and that will allow you to put it out there and get it in front of our users as quickly as possible. Make it really easy for them to play with it. So I'm going to show you how to do that really quick. I'm going to be drawing this information from the article that we wrote on exactly this subject. Feel free to follow along with me if you like. You can jump over there. I'll put a link in the description to this video, and there are some good links and just code snippets and photos that may help you to do this with your own app. So let's just dive right in. We're going to work with a snapshot of Ubuntu, and I'm going to set it up so that it has everything that we need in order to run the app properly. I'm going to give this a name. We'll call it App Screencast. Be real creative. And I'm going to make sure it's sized properly and then turn off auto pause and start it up. Excellent. So our terminal is up and running, and the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and run an update and grab the software that I need in order to work with and manage this app. Great, so I've gone ahead and run my update, and I've gotten the software that I need in order to work with this project. The next thing I'm going to do is pull the project itself in, and it's available on GitHub, so that's the method I'm going to use to access it. And I'll copy the URL from the blog post in order to make things faster. So we've got our project. The next thing we have to do is choose a web server. Now, even though Apache is available native on this installation, we're going to use Nginx, and it's really just a matter of personal preference. We have other tutorials that show you how to use Apache, so I figured we'd use this opportunity in order to show you how to put Nginx in here. And actually, the first thing I'm going to do before I manage which server is doing what is I want to go ahead and get Nginx. And in order to do that, I'm going to go back to my root directory and just run apt-get install Nginx. So now that I have Nginx, I'm going to go ahead and stop Apache from running and start Nginx up. Excellent. The next step is to configure the web server so that it knows to serve up our app instead of the default page which it's set up to serve. In order to do that, we're going to create a new vhost file, and then we'll configure Nginx to serve that up. Now the tutorial will tell you that you can configure this file using Vim, and if you're familiar with Vim, I'd urge you to go ahead and do that. But if you're not familiar with Vim, one of the great features of Terminal.com's IDE is that it also gives you access to a text editor and your file tree. So we can easily still modify this without any real knowledge of using Vim. And I'll show you how to do that here. The first thing we want to do is navigate into our etc. directory, and then we want to find the Nginx directory, which would have just been installed when we ran the Nginx installation. Inside of that, we're looking at the first of two directories that we'll be working with. The first directory is called Sites Available, and this is where we would like to look for now. And you can see that there's a default document that's available here. Now if I go back, you'll see Sites Enabled, and you'll also see Default. And our goal here is going to be to create a new site available .vhost document, and then get this running in the Sites Enabled directory, which will essentially enable Nginx to serve up our site properly. So now that we're in the correct directory, we just want to open a new file, and we will do this, we'll name it after our app. So this particular app is an expense tracker. And you want the .vhost extension on the end of that file. I'm just going to grab the document contents from the tutorial. You can see here it's a pretty basic document. It's got some port information. It tells the server where to serve the document up from. And you can just grab it, copy it, and paste it into your terminal, and then modify it for your particular app. And the only thing you should really need to change is the name of the app. And you'll change that to, the app that you're using. We'll go ahead and save that. And our next step is to come over here to the command line, and we're going to symlink that new document in as the file that's served up by Nginx. So the first thing we want to do is remove the old file. And we're going to remove it from the Sites Enabled directory. And the next thing we're going to do is just a quick swap in of our new file. And there's one thing I'd like to point out to you from the tutorial is if you're copying and pasting the code, you'll probably be fine. If you're typing it in by hand, just be sure that you understand that this is a single line of code. It's just it's limited by the width of our actual blog, but it's a single line of code. So it's important that that all gets used as a single command. And the next step is to restart Nginx. Next, you need to start up your app, and that will be a customized process depending on your app and how it runs. Now that your app is up and running, you should go ahead and test to see if it's available on port 80. Now you can do this using the browser window right here, and all you need to do is you can navigate to localhost port 80, or you could grab your unique identifier here and copy that, paste it into this field, and just add -80 after the identifier but before the dot, and see what you get. And there we are, is our expense tracker app up and running. So this is a really cool way of sharing your app with people online. But another cool thing you can do is create a snapshot, which will enable you to distribute this version to anybody who'd like to spin up their own version of it on their own server and work with it however they like. So in order to do that, you click the snapshot button up in the right hand corner and click create snapshot. And just like that, it's going to save a working copy which can then be distributed through our Explore area to any Terminal.com user. So you'll go ahead and name it the way you'd like to, click save, and you can customize the description and the categories in order to really make sure that it promotes you well. You can even change out the image and then save it, and once you've saved it, you can go ahead and set it as public. Guys, I hope this was useful. It's a very cool way of serving up your open source projects and getting them in the hands of other cool innovators. If you have any questions, feel free to chime in, hit us via Twitter, or comment on this video. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see more of. Get out there, create something cool, and be sure to check in next time. Thanks for taking a look.